Well, how do you know what your hit points are? Is there anything else other than these abilities?
No.
There are, but are they really important? Not really.
It
There are
was important as the
skills,
equipment is.
pretty kind of. There's skills. You can get skills, but guess what the skills do? Not really anything. You skills are not a part of your character that plays in. Wait, okay, hold on. The skills are for the avatar that your character that you create plays, but you find these skills in real life of the character that you create that plays the avatar in the game. Uh, it's like you read like remember when we were kids and we would read guides like if you wanted to learn better stuff in Zelda or Link to the Past, you would buy a guide that would tell you some secrets of the game that you
Yeah.
wouldn't know otherwise. So the character that you create that plays the avatar in the game, maybe he read a guide or read something on a message board that you find a secret, or it helps you in to do this thing better in the MMO that you're playing. You gain a skill from it. It is nothing that the actual avatar in the MMO does. Uh, there were there some some descriptions of some of the skills that you can get? Not really. You kind of make them up on your own. This thing works on tags a lot. I found out. So is there health? No, but you can create a tag like broken arm. That does it do anything? Not really. The GM can say the tag does this. Same thing with, like David said, the equipment. You can create tags for your equipment. So a lockpick, I'm going to give it a tag that says it is a good steel set of lockpick. So you get a +1 on this roll. Blah blah blah. The big thing,
What role is that? Oh, you don't make any rolls.
not really, because it's all about just gaming the system. It's not about the avatar in the world. Remember, the avatar in the world of this MMO really means fuck all.
Yeah,
The
because
player
you're
playing the
playing the player, and the game that the goals of the player in the game are to play another game
yes,
well. And so what's happening in that game doesn't really matter. In the same way that we don't get into really what happens in a game of Three Dragon Ante
yes,
in Dungeons and Dragons, because we just need to know who wins. We don't
right.
really care about how it plays out.
Okay, so you're asking me, Matt. Well, what the fuck? What are the stakes in this game? The whole thing comes to another attribute or another mechanic that's called connection. Now, connection is your party, the connection of you and the rest of your party mates. This is your friends that you play online with and your relationship with them. It is your connection. It starts with a D100. You roll a D100, and that is your starting connection. I think really when I was looking over this, I think it would have been better if you just started at 100 connection. But I guess if you just wanted to play a shorter game, roll for your starting connection. Because every time an obstacle comes up and you roll against this obstacle, if you fail, the amount that you failed by is taken off the connection. And you have to play this. Why are you and the rest of your party, you guys all have to think about this together. Why are you guys falling apart? And as soon as you get down to zero connection, game over. The game is done. That is
The
when,
band breaks up.
yep, either your players, they stop playing the game, they fall, they just don't give a shit about the game anymore. Maybe they had, and this is where Snow kind of got into it, was like, maybe you had children and you can't play the game anymore, so you leave and you never talk to these people ever
Nuh-uh,
again.
nuh-uh. I have a mundane life, and I'm a mother of two, bro.
Yeah.
I can clearly still play if I just neglect my children enough.
So, like I said, this game gets in the feels. It's really all about the feels. Like I said, Snow is a poet. She is a Twitter warrior. I've looked at her YouTube and her Twitter, and she does these essays on YouTube where she'll just talk about stuff and kind of break it down and get really, like I said, really feely about a lot of things. and super poetic about everything. Uses big frilly words that makes it sound very whimsical and you know things like that.
I
Uh,
kind of want to look up her Snow YouTube. I don't know who this gal is.
uh,
Nope, just Informer. The music video comes up.
she had I like the this thing that she had on from October 25th of 2024 because I was like, oh, she's into tabletop RPGs, very much really into OSRs. Like she's really into OSRs. And I read one of her tweets here that I thought was kind of cool. I have an issue when I want to run a game that's more combat heavy or anime inspired that I can't turn to OSR because combat in those games is typically to be avoided or outmaneuvered, and I can't turn to story games because the combat is abstracted in a way that isn't satisfying. I was like, that. Hey, you and I finally agree on something. Good on you.
Yeah.
So, is this a good game? No,
No.
it's not a good game. Is it an interesting game? There are some things in here that are super interesting. Like I like this. The connection idea is a cool idea. Was it? Did it land on all fours? I don't know. I think that she could have used a little bit more description in it, or maybe some examples to flesh it out a little bit. I think the whole game needs to be fleshed out a little bit, which could be there is a dot dungeon extended, I think it's called, that that they're putting out, which dot dungeon on itch.io is only $10 for that eye melting book, which comes with a character sheet. I didn't even show the character sheet because it is god awful. It's horrible. Um, but I gotta say, whereas I have the Kickstarter for Dot Dungeon. So Dot Dungeon came with 876 backers, right? So Snow and the Dot Dungeon team, they raised $32,838 for this book, where Snow said $900 was going right to the artist. You got ripped off. I don't know if that was worth $900. And as well as Snow has started doing these zines, which I can't remember what she called them. It's something like Player Lobby or something like that. Like pregame lobby is what it's called. These little zines that give you expansions into the game. But now there's another game, this Dot Dungeon Extended or whatever it's called. I cannot remember. It's going to be $20, and this is the part of the game when the MMO actually dies. It is what happens when you come back to this dead MMO and reconnect with your friends. That's what it seems like to me. I haven't read it yet because I'm not going to pay $20 for it. I was lucky and I got just a cool or a quick sneak peek of Dot Dungeon. I didn't get the whole book. It was kind of like a starter kit of it all that I just got to look over because I don't want to pay $10 for this either. It is a game that does not interest me at all, but that's
You
just me.
couldn't pay. You couldn't pay me $10 to have this.
Dude, it does not. Yeah, and if it's for you out there, hey, more power to you. It's only $10. Go and support them, but it's definitely not for me, and I'm not going to spend any money on it. Is there anything in this game that might interest or you find interesting, David?
I mean, it really loses me with your character is a person that's in the game world that's playing an MMO. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
what their agency amounts to. It's like I don't know, it's like playing Second Life and then in Second Life playing Second Life, right? Like,
That's what Notepad said in his YouTube. This isn't about an MMO. This is Gary's mod. Is what they're doing is they're playing Gary's mod. I don't think Snow has ever actually played an MMO. Coming from an MMO player, all this in here it does not feel like you're playing an MMO other than
well, it just doesn't
dealing
even
with other people.
it doesn't feel like a game. And again, far be it from me, like I am just of the opinion that even the most sloppy of creators is probably more valuable than even the best critics,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's easy to criticize everything, right? Like so at least she, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
created something. But if you're asking me whether it seems to have any merit or any touchstones of what I would call a game, let alone a role-playing game, it doesn't seem to have anything that interests me even in the slightest. Not even the I see what you're doing there. Like if you had just said like, look, this is a tabletop version of an MMO. It's a it's a tabletop computer game,
Hmm.
and we're going to theme everything like that, and there's going to be kind of this blurring of your like maybe your avatar has certain things that you do in the game, but then also in this meta sense, there's like this other character that you have that is running the game, and you're still doing like, you know, raids or exploration quests or something like you would EverQuest kind of
Yeah,
sort of thing.
the
But
actual
then you
fun
also
part
have
of
like this.
MMOs.
Right, you have like this super set of powers that are like things that the person running the game can do, and it kind of
Hmm.
runs in the background. And maybe I could see that being kind of interesting. It's not for me, but I could see that being interesting. But this is almost just like pulling back the scope so much to abstract everything, where really what it seems to be getting at is there is a certain amount of camaraderie and friendship among people that play MMOs.
Hmm.
And don't you want to play a tabletop game where you're pretending to be one of those people that plays MMOs so you can connect with people that play MMOs? It's like, why wouldn't I just go play an MMO and
Yeah,
kind of
right.
capture that camaraderie? They've
Yeah.
never been bigger, you know? So um, it seems to be kind of trying to, it's almost like a game that I would imagine would be a tabletop game
Hmm.
with a paper book and dice
Hmm.
that you would play in a post-apocalyptic world where MMOs used to be a thing, and now it's nostalgic for you to remember what it was like to play an MMO with people.
That's a better storyline for a game like this than what this is, I think.
But that's what it seems like. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, remember MMOs? It's like, yeah, yeah, they're like a thing right now, and I could go play one right now and get all. But it's like, it's almost like people get this way about some things too, about like retro video games and shit.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
retro video games aren't really a thing anymore. You can't go to the arcade or the laundromat and play like fucking Pac-Man. And so they have some things that kind of replicate that. You know, you maybe watch Stranger Things or something to kind of like live that nostalgia. And this seems like it would be in a post-apocalyptic world where it was like a novel idea that we all used to play MMOs because there's no system, there's no grid, there's no people anymore that ever
Hmm.
did that, but you want to like remember what it was like to do that and kind of connect in a way that you can't. It's just it's a really, really, really bizarre concept. And to
It's
call
a
it a
super
game,
it's a super bizarre concept that all comes back to this thing in the end where the end of the game is you and your friends that you've built this relationship with and have grown very fond of each other, but the ending of it, you falling your friendship falling apart, and then maybe perhaps you never even talking to these people ever again because that is how the game ends.
right, but it's I'm unclear as to what the goal of the game is. Like you're
Nothing.
you're playing a player of an MMO. What
Hmm.
are they doing in the world besides playing the game? Are they playing the game? And then it's like, if you're playing the game, then aren't you viewing it through a lens of like what happens in that game within the game? And it's like the answer is really no.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're almost kind of like in this weird meta strata between the game within the game and the actual game because the characters aren't doing things. It's not like they have any goals or motivations or agency to pursue things in the world that would relate to the MMO. And
Hmm.
it's just I can't even. It's almost so abstract. I just can't even imagine how a game like this would like. What would you be doing at a session? Like literally, I have
Yeah.
no fucking idea.
So I even thought about it. I was like, so do you play the player in real life? Like, do you meet up with the other players that you play with in this game? And no, it never. The whole thing is about your, your engagement inside the game. You don't know these people in real life at all, even though the skills that your character gets come from the real life interactions that you might have with them. And it's like it's really confusing.
It's no game that I can think of would have benefited better from an example of play than this game.
Yeah.
What does that look like? What are you doing? Are the players at the table with you? They're the players that have avatars in the MMO world with you?
Yes.
And so do you have real relationships with it? I don't know. Like,
It
what are
is.
you doing? There's no experience points. There's no
Nope.
damage. There's
Nope.
no anything. It's the things have a cost, but it's like it's irrelevant. It's like
Yeah, it's
it's
very
just
irrelevant.
it's just super mushy. It reminds me of did you ever they used to have these choose your own adventure books that were closer to kind of splitting the difference between like a tabletop RPG and a choose your own adventure. So you
Yes.
actually had stats
Mm-hmm.
for your character. And it was like, I remember that was cool. And I remember it was like, oh, I had like even a little random number grid. You were supposed to
Yeah.
close your eyes with a pencil and kind of,
Yep.
and I was just like, well,
Either
there's
that
10
or it
numbers
had it
here.
on the page. You would just flip to a page and it would have a different number on there that
Yeah. And
acted
it's
like a
so,
die.
yeah, yeah. And so it's like, well, I just have a 10-sided die. I'll just use that. Um, but then there was a page that showed all the weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, select a weapon. And it's like, well, what's the difference? They
Yeah.
all seem the same to me. Like are they're statistically any different? It's like, well, no. Then what do I care if I have a warhammer, if I have a battle axe, or I have a
Right.
sword? Like it's all just damage.
I was thinking about this when I've been working on my role playing game.
Mm.
Why? Because I'm thinking about just keeping it very simple. Is it a one handed or two handed weapon? If it's a
Hmm.
one handed weapon, it does this. If it's a two handed weapon, it does this. And that's all you really need. And then, of course, ranged weapons. This is what range does.
Yeah, it's Barbarians of Limerna is that way. It's a
Mm-hmm.
D6, a D6 take the lowest, or a D6 take the highest.
Yep.
That's it. Those are the damage, and then you just apply modifiers, and then thrown weapons and ranged weapons have increments, and that's it. It's
Yep.
pretty easy because you just kind of keep it at a low level, and if you're not like really adjusting for things, I mean, there's a large enough scale there that it should be able to keep you engaged. I mean, I'm with them. I don't like all sorts of nuance in equipment, but it's if you're going to have an equipment list, it seems like you would have some purpose
Right.
for the equipment. Like, yeah,
It
Barbarians
could
of
be
Limerna has no equipment list. It's like, what do you need it for? Like,
right.
well, I need this equipment. Well, what do you need a rope for? We need a rope to climb shit. So it's
Hmm.
like there's no statistical advantage. There's a story advantage because you can't climb a wall without a fucking rope. You
I
can't pick
thought
a
it could
lock without a
be,
lockpick.
yeah, I thought it could have been as easy as a little paragraph. Hell, not even that, a sentence. And it made me think of, Kurt's famous words, it's written on the tin. It does what, it's on the tin.
Yeah.
Where you could just say in this little paragraph or sentence that just says, um, either great axe, scimitar, or katana. Your weapon is. Describe what your weapon is because they all do the same fucking thing. They don't. There's
Yeah.
no difference. There's no reason to have a whole um, eyeball melting table that you got to look through.
Yeah.
Other than and you know what they could have said. All weapons cost two. You know,
Yeah.
ranged weapons cost one. How is that for being simple? I, yeah, I just didn't see the purpose for it, and I don't like things like that in role playing books when it's just not necessary.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like it's almost playing to some expectation that's not even there. It's like, especially because again, this isn't your avatar's equipment, it's your equipment.
yeah,
What kind of equipment would you really need to play an MMO? Like a mouse?
yeah,
Like, I need a mouse. I
a
need
mouse, a
you know,
computer,
yeah, right, exactly. I
a
need a computer.
microphone to talk to my friends.
Right, Red Bull, fucking
A Red Bull.
Cheetos, like, what do you,
Oh my
what,
god, that was Notepads. He was like, "Why? This is the perfect way to make just a hilarious, funny tabletop RPG." Where instead of thinking of the hacker or the knight as your classes, it should have been the grognard or the grinder or the PvP guy, and it could have been way more entertaining. But in this game, it is. It's just about how close are how are you going to fall out of a relationship with your closest friends that you play this game that you love with. And it also, I have no idea what this is, but so this thing it won the awards. That's all it is. It won an award from the awards.
yes. Dot Dungeon gives out those awards to all of its favorite games every year.
It's weird. I don't know.
No, it's like when you like at the cigar shop. I used to work at the cigar shop, or go into the cigar shop still, and it's every now and again you'll just see like rated 90, and it's like, by who?
Yeah. By who? Cigar
By,
aficionado, or was it in one of these other
right.
ones?
It's like Mike's Cigar Blend rated 90 by
Yeah.
Mike's Cigar Blog. It's
Right.
like it's like I don't know who did this rating and whether they have any like, but people see it and they're like, "Ooh, it's a 90." It's like,
Ooh, 90. It
what's
must be
the
good.
scale? You don't even know. Like, what? It's just there. You just see a number and you go like, "Oh, I like it because numbers are good."
All right, for all of you out there, is this game for you? Do you want to play Dot Dungeon? And if you do, please emails. Let us know why.
Yes,
Why you would.
please let us know why.
Or let us know if you've played Dot Dungeon. That's what I really want to know. If any of you out there that is listening to this has played Dot Dungeon, I want to know what your experience was.
Yeah.
Let us know inside the GM studio at gmail.com. Let us know anything. You got other questions that you want to know about this game? Or maybe there's a game that you want me to read or David read over and give you a little review on. Let us know. Send us an email or come and watch us live. Usually every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/inside the GM studio. Where you can come in and talk in the chat, watch us do some weird shit. For this week, for Inside the GM studio, I've been your host, Matt.
And I am David.
A good night.